So if we practice that method, that everything is just enough, you'll make a beautiful pizza. Are you guys kidding me right now? The most amazing sandwich you can make. This now can sit on a cooling rack. These are big dough balls, right? Because we're gonna make a big pizza. You're gonna do the little booty tap. Look at, see?
So this dough, we're gonna flip it over.
But you scared me.
Oh.
Vitangelo Recchia, ladies and gentlemen. Give us some of your background. Where have you been? What do you do? Where are you from?
So I have a pizzeria in Florida. I've been doing this for the past 20 years. Told my dad never wanted to make pizza, and here I am.
There you are. And all of a sudden, it just pulled you in.
Pulled me in.
Then I have a very special guest, another collaborator with us at Pizza University and Culinary Arts Center. I'm going to tell you a funny story as soon as I introduce her. But this is Stephanie. Stephanie's from a company called PAOW. And PAOW stands for People and Our World. Plant-based protein. She's got a microphone. She talks very quietly, but I would like to say, hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
That's so sweet. Nice, right? You would imagine that someone talking about plant-based foods would sound just like that. It's like when you see Snow White, right, on Disney, right? When they brought the product to me and said, Chef Leo, would you please take this and try it? I says, well, what is it? We're going to show you meatballs. Oh, I love meatballs. Great. He says, yeah, but there's no meat in that. Come on. And I didn't want to do nothing. So they trimmed me. There's a guy who can't be here today. His name's Chef Rob. He's the main guy at PAOW. He says, I want to prove to you that I can make meatballs that are just like your grandma's. I said, oh, let's stop right there. And he says, oh, I get really close. He made me meatballs, and I can't even exaggerate this. They were, if nobody told me there was not meat, I would be convinced that there was meat inside of that. So today what I'd like to do, we're going to be using a product. This is your ground sausage, correct?
Yes.
Right? Now, the product is fully cooked, but we're going to cook this on top of the pizza when this goes in, right? The meatballs, when we did the meatballs, which, by the way, didn't make the truck, the delivery hasn't arrived yet, so we're not making meatballs today, so this is plan B. But the meatballs, what I do, I actually have if any of your restaurants have a steam table, on the steam table, I have the marinara sauce always going. I take the sauce, once it's hot, drop the meatballs, toss them once, and I hold them there. And then from there, as soon as they're warmed through, they're ready to use. And this is the way that I typically use them, especially on a pizza, because they got sauce on them, they look like meatballs, right? The flavor is there, the garlic is intense, everything is there, even the parsley. So when I tell you that they're amazing meatballs, they're great. So now, what am I going to do here? I'm going to have Vitangelo talk about this amazing dough. He just competed, and you won what, third place? In, what did you just win?
28-62.
What did you get the big check for I saw yesterday?
The Guiding Light Award.
Guiding Light Award. It's a shining star, that's what. Anyways, I've seen him make some amazing Roman-style pizza, and he just happened to bring this with us today. If anybody has ever seen the technique of Roman-style pizza alla palla, this is what he's a master in. If you want to go ahead, stretch and go, and then as we're doing this, we'll talk about your technique. I'm going to get out of the way. These are big dough balls, right? Because we're going to make a big pizza. What's the weight of these dough balls? A kilo?
So these dough balls are weighed at
1.2, so 1,200 grams if you're taking notes. That's 2.2 pounds per kilo. So you guys do the math.
So this dough right here is it's a mix of two flours. I used a Cajito Saporoso, Vino Signetti Verde. It is 80% hydrated. But one thing I did that I added to this dough to give it a little bit more gluten structure, cell structure, to calm down the glutens, a fermented wheat germ. I'm not sure if it's accessible in the States. Leo, you can help me on that. But it's a product from a little country in Italy called San Marino. So we're gonna first test on it, okay? So this dough, we're gonna flip it over.
But you scared me.
Oh,
Look at that. Look at these little dough babies. How beautiful. When you do Roman style, this is the one style that everybody wants to get, because when you see this pizza come out of the oven, the inside structure looks like the greatest ciabatta bread you've ever eaten, right? Lots of water. What's the hydration on this?
80%.
80% hydration. 80% water compared to the total amount of flour. So it's a very wet, sticky dough. How many days has this dough been fermenting?
I made this dough 6 o'clock on Monday.
6 o'clock on Monday, so it's got a few days on it. And the idea here is that as this has risen, you see how this looks like a little pillow? All those air bubbles are stuck inside. And what he's about to show you is the method of dimpling the dough. And if you do this the proper way, which actually isn't difficult, you just need a little time. You can't rush. Because once all those air bubbles are gone, or once those gases are gone, this pizza will look flat like a pancake. So can you please demonstrate the technique to stretch this dough?
All right, so the way I do it, and there's many different ways of doing it, but the way I do it, the way I was taught, is I start by dimpling on the outside.
Is that because this way now you've blocked the air from going sideways?
Blocked it in, I'm not making a crust on it. I want at some point it's going to become even all the way through, okay? So when it cooks, it doesn't blow up on the sides. It stays everything even all the way through the dough, okay? So I go around the side, I come down, and then I go back up. And as I'm going back up, I'm pushing it.
Look at all the bubbles already that are in here. And what he's done is, by that dimpling, the gluten network that's formed, all of a sudden he's compressed it in certain spots so that now these air bubbles are trapped and they only want to rise. They can't go sideways. So when this comes out of the oven, how long are we going to make this?
Well, the dough's still a little tight. So we're going to try to manipulate it to release those holes.
Now, we call this style pizza alla pie. I promise you, Stephanie, it's going to be the bonus round when you come on right now. This is not one of those. This is not this, okay? This is called la pala. Pala with a P-A-L-A, right? Pala refers to this. Sometimes this style is called pizza al metro. Metro, why? Because of the metric system. Metro is 3 feet, for those of you who only speak British. So the idea here is that pizza alla pala would generally be a meter long. But if you go to a pizzeria that specializes in this style, you might hear something referred to as a mezzo metro, a half metro, which might be 18 inches, right?
This is about 18 inches right now, about 20 inches right now.
Very good. Now, what's the next step? How do you go from here to here? Can you
So the hardest thing about this dough is getting it off the table. The more hydrated it is, and if it's over fermented, it's impossible. You got to just not get it off the table. And so what I'm doing, I come over my arm, and then I just pick it up. Okay?
You're going to do the little booty tap?
Come over,
Look at, see?
shake it off.
Gotta get that farina off, guys. There you go. And now. And if you see the way he did that, he kind of unrolled his hands. Because again, he's not trying to disturb that gas structure. And now he's elongating it and he's stretching it the rest of the way.
So you want to always want to go top up, okay, when you flip it over, because what you're doing, you're pressing in the dough to get the air to move. But this is where it has the clean look of what the dough is. It created a barrier that it flows. Underneath it, you have the growth. You have the growth of the dough expanding. On top of it, it's liscio. It's smooth.
Liscia. Italians. Okay, now, from here, there's 2 options that you have. The first one being what?
You can do a par bake on it, and your par bake on it's going to be anywhere from 7 to 8 minutes. Or you can actually cover and put toppings on it from this point.
Very good. Why don't we do this? Since you have 2 doughs here, why don't we pop this into the oven, and then we'll do a par bake, and then we'll top the other one, and we'll let Stephanie get her hands involved in here too. So when she puts her expense report, she can say we were on film and she did something this whole par bake. No, she's got a lovely booth over here, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have any interest in these products you're about to see and taste, she can give you the whole lineup and tell you how to get them. She's got a lot of swag here as well, which is pretty cool. I got a fork that looked like this yesterday. It's pretty awesome. The olive oil, is that important to this step?
It's important for me because it's cooking the fat into the dough. Even though there's already oil in the dough, it's giving it another layer of what the flavor is going to come out of it.
So the process now of going into the oven, if you watch his movement, he's actually going to put this into the oven, and as he's slowly pulling, he's extending it even more. I don't want to say that I might know how to do this too, but I'm kind of curious about your dough.
All right.
Do you mind if I try to do one like yours?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to come out perfect or beautiful like yours, but I just want to give this a 1 eye because this dough actually looks gorgeous. And at 80% hydration, this is one of those doughs that sometimes isn't so easy to handle. the squaring off that you did, I think, is amazing, because if we start in this manner, I think there's a lot of flour. I come from the sides. My fingers are uniform. And if you're going to get into the business of pan pizzas or focaccias or anything like that, start to practice. Do this with a mound of flour and practice keeping your hands at a certain width in between your fingers. I use my thumbs as a support. Kind of thing that guys who do golf like this. Mine are like this, so that my fingers are in these rolls. As I come around, I'm pressing with my ring finger and my pinky. My middle finger is catching the air towards the center. And this is what I say, everyone's got a little different technique. Once I come around the sides, I'm going back up the middle now. And look at where all those air bubbles are. Now, there's some times when I've seen this technique done where we make the turn and we give this a flip, because I'm going to do the same thing you just did, but just in reverse. Keeping these rolls nice and uniform and beautiful and even. Now from here, do you do any docking on this?
So I dock if I don't have toppings on.
So the docking, we generally do, there's this tool in pizza. I don't know why we use this thing anymore. That looks like a medieval torture device. It's got a roller with spikes on it. We just spent all this beautiful time making these beautiful doughs, and the first thing we want to go do is kill it. Why? It's usually a sign that you didn't do something right. Or the dough is too cold, or you used too much yeast, or something wasn't right in the process that you needed to pop that bubble. We have one over here, and believe it or not, they make a tool called a bubble popper. Notice that my bubble popper is clean, because there's no bubbles to pop. It's always where it's got to go. But in this case, docking, which we would do, a little sharp edge like this, and we make these little holes. I don't like to use the dot, because like Vitangelo said, what we're going to do, flour comes out of the holes in the bottom. From here, let's open this up.
You did exactly what I said. Like there's more than one way to get this dough off the table. If the fermentation's right, the hydration's right, what you just did makes it like a lot easier.
This isn't about good or better, who's better, or anything like that. This is just multiple techniques. Let's make a plant-based dough. Forget to watch your pizza, because I don't want it burned, and then you're going to blame it on me that my pizza was bamboozling yours. I'm going to get some sauce. This is chow tomatoes from Orlando Foods, a couple booths down over there. This is the Authentica, which is already ground. If you've ever put sauce on a pizza like this, put a little bit more over here. And then the best tool is this. Why? Because now with my fingers, I can feel all the nook and crannies. I'm not destroying the dough. And all of a sudden, this little smear, look at how beautiful this sauce is going on. The idea is that now I don't have too much sauce rolling over the side. I can see where the sauce ended up. If there's too heavy in one spot, move it around. Okay? Now, let's give this some love. Stephanie, this is where I need your assistance. Because, to me, whenever I use a topping, I use a method that was taught to be my teacher. This is actually my teacher. My maestro is right there. That's who I learned from. When Graziano taught me how to make pizzas, he used this thing, said, a pizza should never have more than 5 ingredients, sauce and cheese being one. Because this is the first time in his American Pizzaiolo showing up in Italy, going and saying, I want to focus on the balance of the toppings, not the exorbitant amount of toppings. So if we practice that method, that everything is just enough, you'll make a beautiful pizza. With this topping, one thing that I learned about this topping is that if it's on top of the pizza, it has a tendency to get a little dark, especially at the temperatures that we're baking it, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put just a little bit of this sauce. Anybody hand-pinched sausage at their pizzerias? In Chicago, we hand-pinch bulk sausage. And if you ever hand-pinch bulk sausage, we grab them on the sausage, but the first thing we do, get a little bit of sauce on your fingertips. Why? Because now that allows this to kind of pinch. We're making a sausage pizza that I'm going to make look like hand-pinched sausage. And I know this is plant-based. I know this is vegan. But we can make a beautiful pizza that somebody who normally eats meat would say, "Oh, it's pretty good. I'd eat that again." And by doing it in this method, everybody can see this in front. If I didn't tell you this was plant-based, you'd probably say, "Hey, that looks like a nice sausage pizza he's making," right? Now, from here, I want to make sure that I got good coverage all the way around, okay? This one bubble over here is really aggravating. Now, from here, we're going to put the cheese. But in the Italian style, we're not going to drown this. We're just going to kind of waterfall. Because I want to be able to see the mozzarella. I want to be able to see the sausage peeking through. Last thing that we're going to do, we're going to take this peel, give it a little shake. Notice that it's moving. Fine. Let's put this back to the condition it was just in and go into the oven. Now, in that same movement, just like Vitangelo did, I'm lifting the peel. I'm not dragging on the front. Because a lot of times in this style of pizza, the dough has a tendency to want to hook the front of the peel. And then I'm just pull. Vitangelo's pizza is going to come out here in a second. My pizza is going to come out in a few minutes. Stephanie, with PAOW,
Yes.
what's the name? Do you have a website that people can find your catalog with all your stuff? Or do you have something here for that?
Yes, actually, if you come over to our table, we have a super simple QR code that takes you directly to our product sheets. And it's easy to find online, just PAOW, People and Our World. We're very excited to be here and partner with Pizza University. But yeah, basically a little bit more about PAOW. The initial protein source, 3 simple ingredients: soy, salt, and water. We have a base chef style that you can basically incorporate in any recipe as you would. But it's kind of exciting. It has no cholesterol, no fat, but still up to 19 grams of protein per serving. So it's super simple. And then with the product lines, we add in different seasonings to get really tasty things like this ground sausage, for example, that you'll get to try here. So yeah, we hope you enjoy.
Now that the pizza, the first one, is done, imagine this is in your pizzeria, right? Last night we went for dinner and we got charged, I think, $20 for bread service. But it was really good freaking bread. And it came with a bunch of little sides and boards, all kinds of fancy butter and toppings and things. I would tell you like this. First of all, if you want to talk about why we say our ovens are awesome, it's this. If you can hear really close. That's a crispy pizza, huh? All the micro blisters on the top of this are because of that olive oil that he put on. Let's do 2 things. I'm going to cut this down here. Guys, kidding me right now? This is why he's a world champion, right? Amazing. The other thing is, let's say you make a couple of these. This now can sit on a cooling rack waiting for service. What if it's lunchtime in your pizzeria? And let's say you came around, took this serrated knife, gave this a little cut here. Maybe we do another one around this way. Anybody see Antico Vinaio from Florence? Just look at this smoke. Look at this steam. What if all of a sudden we got something like that? Nice and warm. We took some of this beautiful bofera spianata, which is the most incredible, like, sorpressata from Calabria that you'll ever eat. Look at the residual heat now, melting this beautiful spianata over here. And then, Stephanie, see if anybody's got any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
What if we took some of this beautiful bel gioioso burrata? Everybody loves burrata, right? What if we opened up the burrata just like this, exposing the fior di latte, exposing some of that beautiful stracciatella inside over here? Oh my God, I get so emotional when I do this. Look at this. Oof. Oof. What if we got a little Parmigiano Reggiano? We put a lid just like this. And imagine you got this wrapped in a piece of paper. Are you guys kidding me right now? The most amazing sandwich you can make. The cost of this is really inactive labor, right? Because once you make it, it's just got to sit and rise.
You want to know
Right.
the real cost of it?
Pasta.
This right here, $1.10.
$1.10. You
Dough
can't
ball.
buy cheap dough or bread that cheap. All of a sudden, you're going to sell this sandwich for $1.10. No, you're going to sell this about $16, maybe 18 if you're from Chicago, right? So this is one of those things that we love, these techniques where we can do all of these beautiful things. This plant-based, you got all these meatballs and stuff. Make yourself a meatball hero. We made Philly cheesesteaks with my guy, Chef Rob. So you guys, give me this. I want to go and look at the rest of this. So this over here could be cut up table service bread.